What's up, Game Boys and Girls? Big T here, back with another video. It's been a little minute, and I ain't been in it, but here I am to discuss a few things. Pokemon Arceus being one of them, the Indie World Showcase being another, and Switch versus Steam Deck. I know there's not enough videos about that, but I'm gonna put another angle on it because that's what I do here. But so let's start off first with the Indie World, because that was the thing that came first in the timeline, or at least, you know, if you start off with that and then go to what the new news is, then that would be first. So Indie World, I really didn't get a chance to talk about that. I wanted to. It was a really good Indie World presentation. I was I don't want to say pleasantly surprised, but I was pretty happy at what I saw. Just want to talk about the standouts. Obviously, what is it called? Bomb Rush Cyberpunk looked awesome. As a huge fan of Jet Grind Radio, Jet Set Radio, it is definitely I know people hate to use this term, spiritual successor, but I mean that's what it is. You know, if Sega's not going to make one, let's the fans of the original game, who are now programmers, make one. So looks really cool. I'm really digging that the visuals on that. Hopefully, we get a cart. That'd be great to put this at a physical game. If not, I feel like Limited Run would definitely step in for this game. So I think we'll get one. So definitely looking forward to Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Not super in love with the name. I don't know what the Bomb Rush is about. Maybe that has something to do with the game in there somewhere. I don't know. But Toem, Toem, I don't know how really you say it. That also looked very interesting. It had a kind of black and white hand drawn kind of look with using kind of like Pokemon Snap in some ways, where you're using a camera, and I just like the fact that it kind of looks like the worlds of the kind of small worlds of Captain Toad, the kind of panorama, what they call it? Is that what it's called? Panorama. I kind of like that look of it, and it just looks really interesting. I like the art style. And so that's something I probably will pick up, along with along with Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Then you have, I'm only going to mention the games that I like, or that at least stood out to me. I'm not going to go through everything. Games that look interesting. Garden Story looks pretty cool to me. I'm not sure if I'll pick it up, but it does look interesting to me. Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon, again, it looks interesting to me. I'm a fan of Shovel Knight, but this is a different kind of game, obviously. But I probably will get this. What else? Didn't care for that. Metal Slug Tactics. I'm kind of torn. I think if it's a good tactics game, I will definitely get it, because I love Metal Slug games. I've played and beat all of them, and they are true to the original art style. They didn't really have to do that, so I'm glad they did that, because at least it still feels like a Metal Slug game. At least visually. Obviously, I'd like another Metal Slug game, and I feel like we'll get one at some point. But because this engine and whatever they're using to make this game, it looks great. It looks like it's ready just to make another Metal Slug game, and I feel like it's on its way. If it is, maybe they should have done the Metal Slug game, and then done the kind of side game. I don't know. Maybe it's smarter to do this to get people excited and thinking about Metal Slug who are fans of it. Maybe they'll pick that up. Maybe this game will sell more because of that. And then later you drop the traditional Metal Slug game, which we're sure will sell decently. So maybe it's a better way for them to do it that way. Tetris Effect looked cool. I'm just an old school Tetris guy. All I need is Tetris. I don't need all this bells and whistles and all that jazz. But looks pretty cool. Astroneer looked really good. I will definitely get that game. There are other games, indie games that are like it. I can't think of the name right now, but there's another indie game where you're kind of in this barren area exploring, and you're an astronaut in a similar looking kind of astronaut suit that's an Astroneer. So Astroneer has a more kind of cartoony look to it, which I like, so that works. What else? Gang Beasts. Gang Beasts look pretty funny. Look kind of weird and kind of janky, with kind of like ragdoll physics and whatnot. It looks like a beat 'em up meets what's that game that everybody loves, or at least for a little while anyway, that online game, a multiplayer game. Can't think of the name of it, but this game, it's there. Yeah, it looks pretty funny looking, so I'm probably will get that. And is that the last game? I think, yeah, that's probably the last game. And I feel like I'm missing one, but yeah, really good indie showcase. One of the standouts of the last few we've had. So yeah, good show. Next, we'll talk about Pokemon Arceus. Like, I had little expectations of this game. Once they showed the original trailer for it, I was like, okay, I see what they're trying to kind of do, but I won't get overly too excited because I'm one of those Pokemon fans that kind of fell off because I got kind of tired of the formula. And there's nothing wrong with the formula. Obviously, it still works, and a lot of people still love it. It's just that, you know, some people get tired of it, some people don't. So I was hoping for something different, and Arceus looks like it's it. It looks really cool. Was it Juice? Yeah, Juice was like wondering if they used the Breath of the Wild engine for this. I thought maybe because some of the textures kind of looked similar. That'd be cool if they did. Yeah, it looks like a different kind of Pokemon game, same but different. Like an expansive open world. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for a Pokemon game. Again, it's great. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much all I really watched from the Pokemon show, because that's the only thing I really cared about. Like I said, the more traditional stuff doesn't move me really anymore. I'm looking for something different, and I think Arceus might be it. And they're sticking to that January date. I thought maybe, just maybe, it wasn't going to make that January date. I thought it might get pushed back because, again, the trailer we saw looks pretty early. And, you know, the Switch is what it is. Like, I'm not going to, and I wouldn't complain about visuals and whatnot. The Switch is what it is at this point. Again, I've said, you know, years ago that it's great for its form factor and whatnot, for what the Switch can do. It is getting long in the tooth. I realize that because, like, even Nintendo games are starting to struggle on the Switch, and I recognize that. So I understand that need, but for what the Switch is, I'm happy with it. And Arceus looks just fine on it, and I'm gonna likely really enjoy it. So two, you know, solid performances, if you will, for the Switch as of late. And I kind of want to transition from that, talk about how the Switch is what it is, into you know, the Steam Deck versus Switch topics or debates, because I mean, it's not really a debate, but I've talked about it. There's some clickbaity type stuff on it, but Steam Deck is not a Switch killer. I mean, you can't kill something that's already 90 million strong. So it makes no sense. It's not going to kill the Nintendo Switch. It is not competition for the Nintendo Switch. I'm sure Valve doesn't want it to be that, or doesn't care for it to be that, because it doesn't make sense when your competition is already 90 million units strong, and selling well still. So I don't think that's the case. Obviously, the form factor is why people compare them, and I understand that, because my thing about the Switch early on, if you go back to videos, I wanted to find the video. If I do, I'll put a clip of it here, of me talking about one of the coolest aspects of the Switch and what it can do. For me, I said this way early on, is that the Switch would be a nice device for bringing over PC games, PC style games to it. And I think a lot of people didn't really understand me on that, and I wasn't really probably that clear on what I meant by that, to a certain extent. But a lot of times, at least for me, and I think a lot of gamers who aren't like true blue PC gamers, but like to play PC games from time to time, like myself, we don't like having to deal with that PC setup, but we like a lot of the games that are on PC, right? So what I was thinking is that the Switch would be a perfect kind of go-between, where you can get some PC games of yesteryear even, and you can grind them out basically on your Switch on the go. It's just a more comfortable experience that way, and that's why I said I think the Switch would do well to get a lot of PC games and indie games, obviously, because a lot of people also like to play indie games on the go portably. Some people, sometimes even me myself, sometimes feel weird about playing like an indie type of game on my television, on a console, and have it be a big thing. When these are kind of more old school type of games, a lot of them are 2D based type of things, and you kind of want to play them in that kind of handheld gaming settings, something you would do on a Game Boy Advance or something like that, right? Sometimes they just lend themselves better to the smaller screen instead of being stretched out on your big screen. So it made a lot of sense to me. So I play a lot of indie games. I'll buy a lot of indie games, especially if they're physical. And that's another cool thing about the Switch, is that you get a lot of these indie games physical, which you probably wouldn't get if something like the Switch didn't exist. You might, of course, you'll still get some of the limited run stuff brought over to PS4 and whatnot. But you probably wouldn't get as many physical releases as we still get today with indie if it wasn't for the Nintendo Switch. People like having those little carts and just having that stuff. And they're not big games, so that helps as far as putting them on a cart where it's not an expensive cart. You can put them on a 8 megabyte cart, 4 megabyte, whatever it is, cart, megabit. And you're good to go. So it's not an expense, a crazy expense for indie companies to mass produce some physical copies. So it makes sense, and the Switch is great for that, right? But there are older experiences on PC and some current experiences, at least up to current experiences on PC that I have on my Steam library, that I have on my GOG and my Epic library that I would like to play more. It's just I don't like the PC setup. I don't like sitting here, turning my PC on, having that fan go, having to get super hot in here, and experience games that way with the woo sound in the background, and just having to deal with PC, having to deal with pop-ups and all the stuff you got to deal with because of Windows. That is a turnoff to me. So I tend to not play my PC library as much because of that. And that's why I got super excited about the Steam Deck, because it's like, oh great, now I can bypass all that PC stuff that I don't like to deal with and just play my games direct onto this nice portable meaty portable console. And it's just great. Now if I want to get into more of the PC stuff, I can, because it still is a basically it is a gaming PC. It's a portable gaming PC. So you can get into all that stuff if you want to, or not, and just bypass it like I plan to mostly. Depends on how emulators are going to work on Linux and all that, because it is Linux based. And that's why I got super excited. So my thing is that where the Steam Deck is not going to compete, there's not competition for the Switch, it could be competition for Switch 2. Switch 2 is going to have to step its game up. And for me, that is great, because I don't think it's going to be able to rest on its laurels the way Steam, the way Switch currently does. It's a popular system. Nothing's going to stop it at this point. Complaining about certain things don't really matter at this point, because it's headed towards 100 million units sold, and whatever, a lot of these things, it's just not going to move Nintendo. But going into Switch 2, if Nintendo continues this whole hybrid thing, which I think they will, I think this is the smartest move for them, they're going to have to do better when it comes to features. And when you have a Steam Deck sitting out there, and I think Steam Deck will be a popular little handheld. It will be competition for Switch 2. So that's where I feel like the competition will come in. And all those games that I would currently play on my Switch that are PC games or indie games, because indie games, almost exclusively play on my Switch. That may change because of Steam Deck. I might just start playing on my Steam Deck a lot easier because, hey, I can play these games and on my my laptop, my gaming laptop, and then the same game I'm just playing again and continuing on my current library onto my Steam Deck on the go. So that is going to be competition, and it's funny because that's one of the things I wanted the Switch to be when we started hearing about hybrid and whatnot. And I'm like, I started thinking about ideas of what the Switch could be. As a Mac guy, I'm like, they should do like a Mac OS type of thing, where they have this hybrid thing that they can download certain games to it from the hub. So they have like the Switch would be, in my dreams would have been like basically like a MacBook, right? And then or a Mac Pro desktop, and then when you go on the go, it's like you're taking your iPad, right? So you still have all these apps and stuff that you use on your Mac and your MacBook Pro, and you're basically transferring it over to your portable, which would be like your iPad or iPhone on the go. And you're just continuing on with that, and yeah, you don't have the same experience because you don't have all the beef, right? But you can still play a lot of games, you can still experience a lot of stuff that way, and that's what I think Switch 2 should be. It should be like, here's your Mac Pro at home, and then you take your iPad or your Switch 2 on the go with you, and that way, that would be competition. That would be good competition for the Steam Deck. As is, if they just do what they're doing right now with Switch 2, I don't think it's going to be a good thing for Nintendo to do that. I think Steam Deck will be competition for Switch 2. And again, with power, do you think the Switch 2 would be more powerful than Steam Deck? Probably not. Will it be as powerful? I don't know. It could be. That's probably another not. I don't know. So where you can get all this good stuff, with the Switch 2, is if they do what Valve is doing with Steam Deck and really like beef it up, and having that library that I just have on my desktop or on my laptop of the games from Steam, just being able to just play that, not having to what I'm doing right now, which is it's fine. What I do with I still play Witcher 3. And I go back and forth between my PC and the Switch, so I can. It's cross-play, so it allows cross-progression. So it allows me to upload my saves when I'm playing on my PC to my Switch and vice versa. I can go back and forth and play that game that way. And so the difference with the Steam Deck is it'll just be the same game. There'll be no downgrade because there's clearly a downgrade going from my PC to Switch. There'll be no real downgrade visually. Maybe some frame rate drop, but it'll still look like the same game, and I'll just be playing it again. There's no need to even save and bring my saves over, upload my save. So that seamlessness is going to be a big factor, I think, going forward. I think the Steam Deck will do well. There's a lot of kind of naysayers, and I kind of understand it. But they're looking at it wrong because they're looking at something like this what it was, the Steam machines, which was nothing compared to this. Those were not smart, devices. Where the Steam Deck is a smart, really well thought out device, and there was no buzz around the Steam machines like there is around Steam Deck. So clearly, I think clearly it's going to do well, and maybe definitely that's a good thing because I think it will push Nintendo to not just kind of do Switch 2, make it a Switch 1.2, make it an actual, a viable, graphical leap, and also a, just kind of a, make it more, seamless, and make it more of a seamless leap and with better features and stuff. They're going to have to do that, especially if there's a viable, popular Steam Deck out there. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. That's my take on Pokemon Arceus, Indie World. I thought it was really good. Indie World was really good, and I just wanted to talk more about Steam Deck. what hyped me about it. And you know, again, like I said, those PC games coming to Switch was a really cool thing. A lot of even like yesteryear PC game stuff, which a lot of Nintendo fans or just, you know, a lot of just console fans in general haven't seen. I thought that was always going to be a smart move, and that's what happened a lot with Switch. A lot of those PC games came over, and they're being, you know, they're being rediscovered basically on Switch, or discovered for the first time. And now that you have something like the Steam Deck, which just, again, you can play PC anything on there, and that's going to be competition for the next Switch. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss, you know, great content like this right here going forward. There is a revamp of the channel coming soon. It's kind of a reintegration, so look forward to that. We're gonna get more fun, more goofy on this channel. Not always so serious, even though it's not really serious, but more of the stuff I kind of started with. That is definitely going to be coming back to make the channel more fun. And yeah, I've been growing steadily, not huge numbers, but steadily going up. This hasn't happened for me in a couple years. That my channel hasn't really moved sub-wise, but we're steadily growing right now, so I'm happy about that. So let us continue. Hopefully we'll get bigger and bigger and bigger and make a real stink on this old YouTube. And I mean, I got to do other things. I got to get my Twitch going. I have a Twitch. I've barely done anything with it, so I got to get that going. Somebody said something about Odyssey. Only Odyssey I know about is Mario Odyssey, and the Odyssey from Greek mythology. So I looked that up. I don't know. There's some other platform. I don't know. But, you know, look forward to that. So, yep. Thank you guys for watching and listening. And see you next time. Peace out and keep gaming.